And tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in the racing industry to start with.
Well, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and I wasn't around horses early on, but my dad took me to the races ever since I was a little kid, and he brought us here to Saratoga in 1980, and almost every year after that. And we were just race fans, but I loved the game right from the beginning and wanted to be a part of it. And as soon as I was old enough, I tried to get a hot walking job, and pretty early on, I ended up in John Hennig's barn, and John Hennig's Mark's father, and you know, he taught me a lot early on, and told me that if I made enough progress, that he would kind of try to feed me into Wayne Lucas's barn, and it was a great experience. You know, I worked hard for John, and I really picked up a lot from him, and enjoyed working for him. Then I went to Wayne's barn and became a foreman there, leading to an assistant, and Todd went on his own, and after probably a year after he was on his own, he needed somebody else, and I went ahead and joined up with him. So I've been lucky enough to have been around some great people leading me to where I am.
Let me just jump in and ask you, because I looked up your bio and saw that you kind of graduated from Wayne Lucas University. It was pumped out, you know, Hennig, Pletcher, McLaughlin, a bunch of big names that went from assistants for Wayne Lucas into being prominent trainers on their own. What was it about that organization? Give me some of your memories of working with Lucas, and what's it about that organization that does provide the foundation for a lot of guys like yourself to move on to become good top trainers?
Well, the first thing is when I first showed up there in '91, if you walked down the Chevrolet, it was like a who's who of current American racing. I mean, it was one graded stake horse after another, and then there was a bunch of unstarted 2-year-olds that were very well bred and cost a lot of money. So right away you're exposed to very good racehorses, and you know, there's only one way to know what a good racehorse is, and that's be around them. But you know, it really boils down to a few key things. First of all, the work ethic there, you got to work hard, and they were very big into organization. Everything was very, very organized, and they were good trainers. I mean, they knew what they were doing. Jeff and Wayne, and you know, I was around Todd early on. Todd was in his early stages of being an assistant when I was there, and I got a chance to work for Randy Bradshaw, Kieran McLaughlin, and Dallas. Everybody was, you know, very good at what they did, and Wayne always put on a good show too. You know, we all put on coats and ties when we went to the races, and you know, when people saw the way we did things, they felt like that they, you know, it was a part of something big. And but I think those are some of the main aspects of what led us to success.
You talk about his barn having the nice horses and the coats and ties. He also had the barn that was always all laid out and in good form back there.
He spared no expense. He wanted the barn to look good, flowers everywhere, everything nice and shiny, and you know, it created a great atmosphere to work in, let alone when people walked up, you know, they were impressed. But it was, we were all very proud of the way things looked and the way things went.
Now that you moved out on your own, I always like to ask trainers this, because as fans, I said in the last break, you know, the big show comes to our theater 6 weeks a year, so we look forward to it. We love Saratoga. But now 21st century racing, folks can bet from home, they can bet on their smartphone, so attendance at a lot of tracks just isn't what it used to be. That's not the case at Saratoga. So as a trainer, how much more fun is it up here to play in front of a full house?
Oh, we love it up here. I love it up here. I go to the races almost every day that I can. You know, some days we got to take off, we've got to work back at the barn, but I grew up as a racing fan, so you know, just to come out and have the whole town, you know, all about racing, and when you go over to the grandstand, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter where you go, people are talking about racing. The crowds are great. I mean, this is what it's all about. And I'm from Louisville, and you know, Derby Day and Derby Week is sacred to me. But being up here, coming to the races of Saratoga is the best racing experience somebody can have.
And obviously, it's a big show. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to get everybody ready. And you know, we like to ask a few questions about what's going on in the barn. Now, I know that over many years you have had horses down the street on Gridley Street, and I'm sure that presents some different challenges. And people walking around in town, I'm sure from time to time see horses walking up and down streets. Tell us a little bit about some of those challenges. Why it's a little different here than if you were right here on the backstretch.
Well, PJ Campo, when he's deciding how many stalls to allot during the meet, you know, during the summer we have 50, 60 horses up here in training, and you know, PJ, the limit here is 36 as far as I know, and everybody gets cut back. Todd gets cut back, I get cut back, and so you have a choice: either lease some stalls at a different location, to augment what he allots you, or have him all at Belmont. And you know, if you have 60 or 70 horses and he gives me the stalls that, you know, that's going to leave 40 of them down at Belmont, well, heck, I might as well spend all my time down at Belmont. It's just not feasible. So the last, you know, for several years now, we've leased some stalls off of Roy Lerman over here. He's got a beautiful barn, and it just helps me have more horses in front of me and you know, be more on top of our program.
A little bit different having to walk your racehorses up and down a city street. I'm reminded of that as a big garbage truck is pulling by here. But does that present any particular challenges, having the horses kind of off-site, literally walking down the middle of a city street to get to work every day?
The biggest challenge walking back down here is going past that starting gate when it breaks. That usually gets the horses fluffing. But you also, anytime you're out on the street and with the public, and we deal with that all over. You know, a lot of people that walk around, they don't know, you know, they don't know what horses are going to do, and they don't understand them. So you're always having to tell them, hey, be careful, you know, stay back. But it can be difficult.
That's interesting too, though. I've never thought about that. If your horses are walking by and they're schooling in the gate, your horses then react to that.
Yeah, they get pretty pumped up, especially if they break a set of babies out of the gate while you're walking by. They're on their toes all the way down Gridley Avenue after that.
Yeah, you hear it every now and then. I will occasionally be out, you know, I'll be out here and I'll hear the hoofs on the, you know, the sound of the horseshoes on the footing out here and so forth. The other interesting thing about your barn and your outfit is that you and your wife work as a team, which I think is terrific, and that's something that you know, maybe some people could take a lesson from.
It is. I'm very lucky to have her. Cindy, my wife, she does all the work. You know, I need to pay it. You know,
you're getting a lot of brownies by saying that on TV. I appreciate that.
I have to, you know, I got to deal with jocks agents, call the owners, and keep, you know, a lot of those details in order. But, you know, she, as far as running our help and knowing our horses, you know, upside down and backwards, she knows everything that's going on. She gets up early. She works very hard, and I couldn't do it without her. I just couldn't do it.
And she's out here getting on the horses in the morning.
She rides as well, yeah. There's nobody better than her. She's very good at what she does, and she can tell me something before anybody else. So, very lucky to have her. That's
certainly, I would think, a very big advantage to any trainer, to have somebody that's getting on their horses that really is a rider that not just a freelancer who's going to get on your horse and ride it and then walk away from the barn, but that's really a part of the training system.
Yeah, she's very, very good at getting a horse that might not be the happiest horse. She's very good at making her horses happy. You know, whatever she does with them. You know, she knows their lamenesses and what they feel like, but you know, she's really good at, if you take like a filly that's quirky or a colt, could be too, that's just not happy with what they do every day. She can make them happy.
That's certainly something that you need to have. George, we got to take a brief break. Can you stay with us for a couple more minutes?
Sure.
Absolutely, that'll be terrific. We are going to pause for a brief message, and when we return, we'll have more with trainer George Weaver. Please stay with us.
What would another ShopRite mean for you?
It means more chef-prepared meals to take home and call my own.
Another place to get help with healthy eating.
And another place to get fresh fish.
Another ShopRite in the Capital District, 709 Central Avenue. Another ShopRite. That means more chef-prepared meals, another dietitian, and more fresh produce. Get more choices and even more savings with ShopRite's growing family.
We're all about food, we're all about savings, we're all about you.
Hello racing fans, I'm Robert Lee, the newest member of the Capital OTB team. Follow me throughout the Saratoga racing season for all the late-breaking updates and racing information from right here in the paddock on Twitter @CapitalOTB. There you'll find our handicappers' picks, updated and instant analysis, and so much more. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter @CapitalOTB. We'll see you there.
Hi race fans, I'm Seth Miro with some great news. Now you can get live streaming of all our tracks. Just log on to CapitalOTB.com, click on the live streaming link, and choose from more than 35 tracks from around the world. Plus, you can now get race replays, any day, any track. And don't forget to check out our new virtual tote board. In horse racing, information is key, and no one brings you the crucial information you need like CapitalOTB.com. Live streaming, race replays, and our new virtual tote board. CapitalOTB.com. Check it out now.
Leah Auto Group, going miles above the rest. Hondas, Toyotas, Hyundais, Nissans, Infinitis, and a large selection of pre-owned vehicles. Over 5,000 to choose from. With over 30 years in the business, Leah's got your automotive needs covered. Shop hassle-free environments in our state-of-the-art facilities and take advantage of low lease payments, 0 down leases, and financing as low as 0.9%. Open 7 days a week for your convenience and online all the time at leahcars.com.
Welcome back to Capital OTB's The Inside Track. I'm Jean Wood. We've got Seth Merrill, of course, co-hosting, and our special guest this morning is trainer George Weaver. We're just talking a little bit about, in the break about some of the, kind of behind the scenes, what it's like, back here and so forth, and talking about how some of the horses react to the different scenery. Some horses seem to just love it up here. They kind of relax. But as you mentioned, being down the street, there are some things that your horses probably don't have to deal with, say, at Belmont.
That's right. Yeah, there's it's quite a bit more active up here than it is at Belmont, and there's a lot for the horses to look at, a lot of people, and you need to school in the paddock. The paddock here is much more nervous situation for a horse than it would be at a place like Belmont. But they just have to get used to it. So it's our job to get them acclimated to what they're going to deal with.
And of course, Saratoga, it's all about the bedding, and it's all about the babies as well. You talked about your days with Wayne Lucas and having some nice 2-year-olds in the barn. I have to ask if there's any 2-year-olds we should look at, but I just, as we were on the break, I looked up some of your entries. You got Bajan Rhythm coming up within the next few days, and what jumped out to me, Spice Speightstown out of a more than ready mare. So the breeding there jumps off the page to me already as a win early kind of horse. What should we look for from that one?
He is a quick horse, and I'm looking for him to run well. I'm not crazy about having a one-hole. It always seems to be a kind of a negative for a first-time starter. They got to really break well and get into it. But the horse is quick. His pedigree says he's quick, and he is quick. And I think he's going to run a good race.
Got any other 2-year-olds we should keep our eyes open for? Or you keep them under the radar?
I got to keep them under the radar. As soon as I say a good thing about a horse, they go downhill in a hurry. So I better keep them under the hood.
I know it's fun. It's funny because a lot of trainers, and not just necessarily here on the air, but you run into somebody and say, oh, you have anything you like in the barn? And it's like, if I open my mouth about anything, it jinxes it. Just don't give
It's true.
And as a TV guy, it took me a couple of years to learn you don't ask about the claimers.
No,
everybody wants to keep that under the radar.
No, we never ask anybody about about claiming horses or anything of that nature. George, tell us a little bit about some of the owners that you have had the chance to work with and so forth. We'd like to give our trainers an opportunity to kind of give a shout out to the people that have supported their outfit.
Well, we've had some great people stay with me all along, and we have some new people that have come along the way. Dogwood, obviously, they were the first outfit to send me some horses, and they have continued to have some horses for them continuously since we've been on our own 10 years. So we're very proud to work for them. They're a very classy outfit, and Mr. Campbell's been great to me, and I love working with him. Randy Hill behind the R.A. Hill stable has also been with me since very early on, and we're very good friends besides, client and, and business relationship. But we have a great time. He comes to the races often up here, and, he's a big part of our barn, a big part of our outfit. And Agnes Peace, she's been with me a long time, and Jim and Susan Hill are big clients now, and so those are kind of the key people. And I hope I don't want to offend anybody by leaving anybody out. We've got some new people coming along, and we have a really great group of owners, and we're proud to work for them all. So
you mentioned a couple of owners that. Dogwood, for example, it's an outfit that buys horses and sells partnerships, and Cott, of course, a fixture here in Saratoga, as well as some who are in the breeding business themselves as well. And tell us a little bit about the difference between, the owners that are going to buy horses, if there is a difference, and the ones that are breeding some young stock and just funneling them into your outfit.
Well, I have a little bit of both, and some of my clients do both. They buy horses and breed a little bit also. And I think that the breeding is a long-term investment. There's something, it's very rewarding to watch a young horse be born and see him through the whole process, but it's a long financial input, and it's also, it's a long time to wait to have one produce. But when they do produce, it's a lot of fun. But I think that the odds are probably a little bit against you breeding as far as success. I'd rather, personally myself, I'd rather go buy one, buy something you like than hope that what you breed that you're going to like it. But they both go through the same process. They're broken as yearlings and put them in training and see what you got and hopefully they're a good one.
Then the other side of the game, though, is, of course, the yearling sales. And I'm wondering, do you go over it with your clients? Are you going to be over there the next couple of nights, and do you give advice to some of your clients at the yearling sales?
Yeah, we look at the yearling sales, and this particular one coming up, the select sale, is pretty high dollar sale.
Yeah.
So, you got to get tied on when you step in the ring to try to buy something you like over there. But we do shop yearling sales, and that's part of the job as a trainer. You got to try to recruit. You got to try to recruit some talent. You can't win races without some talent in your barn.
Yeah, this is a tough sale as opposed to the Keeneland. You get past day 2 down there, and maybe something can fly under the radar.
Right.
It's a little tougher up here.
Yeah, there's not too many to fly under the radar in this sale. But the New York bred sale has always been a good sale to buy out of. There's always runners come out of there, and those horses are buyable.
And they've obviously got the advantage of the New York program and so forth. And you've got some New York bred runners in your outfit. I don't think you're necessarily somebody who's known for New York breds like some people, but you've had a few of them, and as you said, that's a pretty good one.
Well, being based in New York, it's nice to have a New York bred. That can
It's
run a
about
little
cash
bit.
flow.
Yeah,
The money's good.
yeah. It's you know what I mean. If it's you hope it's a top horse, a Derby horse or something like that. But if it's if it can run a little bit as a New York bred, there's a lot of money to be made, with the horse just on this circuit. So.
And speaking of New York breds, I have to ask you, you said you were a Louisville bred, but I see you're wearing a Giants hat, so have you changed allegiances since you've shifted up here?
It's funny you mention that. I've been a Giants fan probably since I was young. I got an autograph. I broke my leg playing football when I was 11, and some guy in the emergency room gave me an autograph of Phil Simms, but I really wasn't. I backed off for a while. I didn't have time to pay attention to it. And I think about 4 or 5 years ago, the one owner I mentioned to you, Randy Hill, he's a big Giants fan. And at the time, all his horses weren't doing too good. And I said, I better start finding something to talk about with it besides horses so I can divert the subject. So that particular year, I started following them, and they were playing horrible during the middle of the season. And then at the end of the season, they put it together, won the Super Bowl, and boom, I'm hooked. I've been following them every year. I take my son to a game every year, and then they won the Super Bowl last year. So I'm a bigger fan now than I was.
And on the flip side, I'm a Jets fan. So early in the season, they always do well. At the end of the season today, same old story, crying towel.
Well, you got Tim Tebow. Maybe he'll keep it together.
Well, I have my fingers crossed every year. You had any conversations with Bill Parcells up here?
Yeah, I shoot the bull with him every once in a while when he's up there. It's fun to have him up in the stands.
Yeah, it's nice. And again, we talked earlier about how it's great to play in front of a full house, but you get some of the kind of celebrity owners and participants that makes it fun too. Rick Pitino, of course, has been here. Bobby Flay, the chef, has been here.
Right.
To get guys like that into the game, I think helps the game as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, so it's certainly nice to have those kinds of those kinds
High
of people
profile.
that make it look far more mainstream. Although a friend of mine told me a story about a day when she was working over at the sales and was a card girl. You fill out a card to request that a horse be taken out of the stalls for your examination. And it was Bobby Flay that was asking to see a horse, and she didn't know he was. I think she felt a little bit silly after the fact when he gave his full name. But it certainly is nice to have those kind of people in the game, and you get a chance to rub elbows with Parcells every now and then. You got to have some good stories there.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said, the celebrities in the game being able to know them. I just grew up in Louisville, and we didn't. I didn't come from a rich family thing. We just grew up and. But getting in the game, you do get exposed to some pretty cool people.
Well, I'm sure you did right off the bat when you were working for Wayne, because he had some very high-profile people.
He was a celebrity himself. Heck,
Yeah.
I felt that walking around and living idle.
Were those the Gene Klein days? Then you probably had to wear the San Diego Chargers hat.
Yeah.
That's right.
There was no fooling around there.
That's right.
Well, let me ask you also, and I don't know whether you'll have an opinion, but being from Louisville, I wonder if you still have an eye on Kentucky racing. And Kentucky racing over the past couple of years has been in flux. You have any opinions about the direction they're going down there?
I tell you, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's
I don't
tough.
know. A lot of people have left, and I always wanted Kentucky racing to be well. But even when I first went on my own, I was kind of teetering between basing in Kentucky or basing in New York. And it really, when it came down to it, it's just more opportunity up here. There's a lot. I think there's a lot more money up here. But I didn't have the insight to know that Kentucky racing was going to go down. But it's in trouble. I hope they get it sorted out.
Yeah, because they are one of the anchors, certainly, when you look at circuits around the country. New York, California, Kentucky, you think of as being, the real anchors to the industry. And as you say, they over the past few years, they've suffered a little bit. I think because of the slots in basically Indiana. I think that has pulled a lot of the horses out of Kentucky. There's so much money with those slots tracks, and that's been the fight down there in Kentucky.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate, but you know, the casino money has become a big part of, you know, trying to lure horses with purses. So, you know, hopefully they'll get it sorted out.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, as they are the cradle of the industry in the sense that that's the basis of the breeding side. But unfortunately, they can't seem to get the racing side to live up to that expectation. George, I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning. We certainly do appreciate your time. I know that for trainers, this is a very busy time of day, and I know you've got a lot of horses up here. So, but no doubt Cindy's taking good care of the barn, as she always does.
Is.
But thanks for joining us. We certainly do
Thank you,
appreciate
Jean. Thank you,
it.
Seth.
Trainer George Weaver, thank you so much for the time this morning here on Capital OTB's The Inside Track. We'll pause for one more brief message. Please stay with us.
What would another ShopRite mean for you?
It means more chef-prepared meals to take home and call my own.
Another place to get help with healthy eating.
And another place to get fresh fish.
Another ShopRite in the Capital District, 709 Central Avenue. Another ShopRite. That means more chef-prepared meals, another dietitian, and more fresh produce. Get more choices and even more savings with ShopRite's growing family.
We're all about